What is going on, guys? It's your average tanker here, and today we are playing in the Centurion 7-1, one of my personal most favorite tanks in the game. A few key highlights about this tank is it is a monster ridgeline warrior. At tier 9, this tank has 268 millimeters of penetration and a 390 alpha on its standard ammunition, and it also comes with some nice juicy HESH rounds. And one thing to note, these are your premium ammunitions. It does have a much lower penetration but a much higher alpha damage, so these are great if you're shooting at lower tier targets, tier 7s, if you end up in that kind of matchmaking, or lightly armored vehicles. So what are we going to do? We are on the map Matterheim. We are coming from the north spawn. We are platooned with a Conqueror and AT-110E5 tanks that are great, fantastic to get onto a ridgeline and utilize their gun depression. How are we going to start this off? Now, anytime I play this map, I always come down to this corner here, because all your heavies, they're going to be trundling their way along here, trying to get into this low ground. And if you come just this side of this rock, this gives you great shots into them as they're coming across. Now, it is kind of tricky to play if you're in like a Soviet tank. Sometimes they'll come around to this side, you get better gun depression, or you might have to sit on top of this ridge. So it is risky if you're playing in a tank that doesn't have the best gun depression, because you kind of have to expose yourself a lot more. But we're going to make the best use of this position. We see a Conqueror pushing in, and we get the first tracking shot into him. All right, he uses his repair kit, and this AMX gets the second tracking shot in there, and now he is locked down. He's stuck. There's nothing he can do, and we're going to make the most use of that as possible. Go for these shots into his lower plate, try and finish him off. AMX gets the kill, and there we go. The opposing top tier 9 heavy tank has been eliminated from the game right off the get-go. We're up to 1600 damage right off the start. Very happy with the result so far. Then we're going to come up to this position here, up to this ridge line, see if we can get some shots in. It doesn't look like we can, and here's where we make a bit of a mistake. I kind of got lazy here. I was thinking, oh, you know, like AMX doesn't have shots, I'll just push over the top, you know, no one could shoot me. But of course there's a strip in the back who got a shot in us. So if you don't do this, don't go over the top like that, you know, take the extra few seconds, go around the side, save your HP, because you may need it later on in the game. All right, now we're coming up to this ridgeline here, and this is a beautiful spot to use your gun depression. You'll notice if you ever come here in like your Soviet tanks, you can see the 703 here. If you have the gun depression, come over to the middle to the right side. If you don't have the greatest gun depression, you can kind of come up sideways like on this angle. That'll give you cover from any tanks here in the back shooting at you. And if you come up this way, kind of like this 703 is, that will also give you shots in on these tanks here. So we're looking for a shot on the VK, but instead we see the rear of this IS-22. We're going to take that instead because he was giving it to us for free. We're going to try and get a shot on this lower plate, but we did have to expose ourselves quite high to get that lower plate shot, and he managed to get around into us. Now he's going to be on reload. We're going to take advantage of that, get a shot on the side of this IS-32. And now, okay, look at the direction that this fight is happening right now. They're fighting each other frontally this way. Now is the perfect opportunity where if you are in a tank, a medium tank with great mobility, you want to try and flank. And if you look, all their armor is angling in this direction. If we can get to the end of this ridgeline, we're essentially going to get side shots in on all these heavies, and that is one of the most important roles of a medium tank, is to create crossfires. If you can create crossfires on heavy tanks, you're just going to be able to clean up your flank. Now, we are going to make a bit of a tricky cross here to get down into that corner position. If you haven't tried this cross before, most mediums you can do it in, some heavies. If you haven't done it before, you haven't tried it, hop into a training room, try it out a few times, get the hang of it, because it is very, very, very easy to drown yourself doing this if you don't do it properly. So give it a few tries, make sure you can get it down before you actually do it in battle. Now, there isn't any artillery in this game, but normally if there was, artillery would hang around in the back here. This position is perfectly safe from artillery, and you see as soon as we come up to the edge here, this is a god position. As soon as we got here, this flank is done. There is now nothing that these heavies can do, because they need to keep their armor angled towards our platoon mates here in the Conqueror and T-54E1, but we're able to farm the sides of their tanks here as they're engaging them. I'm gonna try to go for one more shot in this VK. We do get trolled by RNG a few times here. Our shots, one went high, one ricocheted, but we're just gonna keep our gun hot and put these shots out into these heavy tanks. Now we got a VK here, and we finish him off. Now, I'm not worried about that IS-32. There's more than enough heavy tanks to deal with him, but I am going to push in, and we spot this UDAS. Now, this is why running optics on your medium tanks is so important. I know a lot of medium tank drivers don't run optics, but view range is power in this game. If you don't have the view range, I mean, we never would have been able to spot that UDAS. Ooh. Thread the needle through on that UDAS in the corner there, and we're going to continue to push in. Now we have this WZ-120. He managed to get a shot into us, but he is on reload, and we have a much quicker reload than he does, so we're going to take advantage of that and get one more shot in before he reloads, and he fluffs his shot into the ground, so he's going to be on reload a second time. We're going to go for one more shot, and we finish him off. We are up to 6,000 damage and 4 kills in this game. What a battle. This is a textbook, perfect game to play in your Centurion 7-1. Okay. Biggest takeaways here when you're playing this type of a tank, or playing any medium tank really in this game, is utilize the strengths of your tank, right? The Centurion has fantastic gun depression. You want to get into a position where you're able to utilize that gun depression. Only that, but it's building those crossfires. Crossfires are so important. Yes, I mean, if you're in a tank with great armor, you know, and you want to fight frontally, go for it. But if you're in a tank that doesn't have the best armor, building those crossfires, getting those flanking shots, that is what's going to win you games.